Hey guys, I am here to educate you today. Learning. First off, just like to say that this video is not to be misconstrued by little teeny bopper kids who want to take everything in their power to try and make what they're doing sound like a good thing. Not what this is. I would also like to make it be known to parents and anyone alike that I am not saying any of this stuff because I think that it should be publicly done, or children should be exposed to it, or any of that other stuff. This is just simple facts that I have researched and found to try and educate people in our system, because it has become very clear to me that a lot of people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So here we go. This is going to be step one in a whole saga that I'm thinking about making on educating you. So here it is, educate yourself on marijuana. What is it? So it is cannabis. That's what it's also known as. It's a plant that can grow in the wild or in your house or, whatever. It's just a plant. That's all it is. The main ingredient in the buds are what has all of it. That's the drug part. It's like the flowers. I'm not going to go too in depth on this because there's some stuff that I just don't understand. But the main ingredient in those buds is THC. This is the part that will give you the high. There are also many other things in here, but that's the main one. Usually look for in weed. Do people use it? People use it for a variety of reasons. It has come to people's attention that it is used for pain. Many things. Most people know it is for giving you, for feeling a high, a buzz. So let's just start on the medical side of things. Where is on the medical field. Now I know some of you will argue with me, but this is statistical studies and facts. Stick with me here. I swear this makes sense. A lot of states are starting to legalize medical marijuana. Always going to be negative effects with anything because people will overuse and abuse things. That they can just do whatever they want and use as much as they want, and there's going to be no consequences, which of course we all know is not the case. And these are the kind of people who have ruined it for everybody. We buy a certain amount of cold medicine because people have abused it. So really think about this in that as glaucoma. Number one thing, glaucoma. It helps to treat and prevent it. What that is, it increases the pressure in your eyes. What marijuana can do is decrease that pressure. Studies in the 1970s that show when you smoke it, marijuana can lower IOP. You can look that up. It's that pressure, and it can slow down the disease because glaucoma can eventually cause blindness. So there's a tobacco user or have lung problems. This is a study that was published in the Journal of American Medical Association in January of 2012. Now these are all facts. You can look these up. I will write them in the things below. Marijuana does not impair your lung function. It can increase your lung capacity. It helps heal your lungs. Research has tested the lung function of over 5,000 adults over 20 years of age. Now the tobacco users lost lung function over time, but the marijuana users actually, their lung capacity increased. Seizures. Here's another thing. There was a 2003 study by Robert J. DeLorenzo of Virginia Commonwealth University. He gave marijuana extract in synthetic to epileptic rats. Rats went without seizures for 10 hours. 10. Can control the seizures by the THC into the brain cells. And those are the cells that are responsible for controlling excitability. And on that same note, there is a syndrome. It's called Dravet syndrome. This I read about a little girl who has this. It causes seizures and severe developmental delays. Her family is the Gupta family. Look this up. Seriously, this is amazing. Treat her 5-year-old daughter, her name is Charlotte, with a high strain of cannabidiol in low in THC. Your THC is the part that gives you the high. The other, you can extract the THC and have just the oil, which is CBD. They gave her a strand of it that has low to no THC. Between this, they decreased Charlotte's seizures from 300 seizures a week to just one every 7 days a week to one a week. Tell me that is not absolutely amazing to see that 5-year-old little girl actually be able to function. On the same note, marijuana is actually more effective and less toxic and less expensive than any other medicine. 50% of U.S. doctors would prescribe marijuana as a medicine if it was legally available to them. Go to cancer. One of the biggest things in the country. People with a narrow mind don't want to see that something that has been able to help us has been here all along. It's just been considered illegal. CBD, the part that does not give you the high, the buzz, helps cancer from spreading. Yes, it can prevent from spreading cancer. Researchers at the California Pacific Medical Center, it's in San Francisco, they reported this in 2016. So just let that spin for a second. Turns off a gene called ID-1. Cancer cells make more of this gene than non-cancerous cells. That's what helps them spread. Study, these breast cancer cells had high levels of this ID-1, and they treated them with CBD. Afterward, the cells were less aggressive. Stop cancer from spreading. Why are we not funding this? Helps with anxiety. Medical users will say that it decreases their pain, suppresses nausea. Another reason why they use it a lot with cancer patients, because the chemo makes you nauseous and sick, and it also helps your appetite. You ever heard of the munchies? Yeah, it makes you eat. So if you're nauseous and sick from your chemo, duh. In the case of anxiety, it can also be used as a sedative because it calms you down. It makes you kind of sleepy if you smoke a lot of it. So, I mean, it can be used as that too. Diseases that are used for this, but I don't want to keep going on. Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, muscle spasms, hep C, bowel disease, arthritis, and the list will probably continue to grow. Doctors are now finding out that this is not that bad of a thing to be doing. And skip ahead to the environment. Everybody wants to save the environment. Everybody's into recycling. These people say how they're doing all these wonderful things to try and save the environment. And yet the one thing they can do that is so simple, they don't want to. What it can do for the environment. Hemp is the plant, not the buds we talked about before. The flowers are the drug part of it. So the plant itself is an amazing factor all on its own. And we're going to get into that here. It was used for years to make paper, rope, canvas, and textiles. Real canvas is actually made from marijuana. Hemp was banned then and is discovered to have a lot of environment, economic, and commercial potential. The U.S. Department of Agriculture potential of hemp for paper production is huge. It is ginormous. An acre of hemp can actually produce 4 times more paper than 1 acre of trees. The amount of land can produce 4 times more of the paper. Tampons can be made from hemp. No tree or plant on earth capable of producing as much paper per acre as hemp is. By making paper out of hemp, it would eliminate cutting down millions of trees and in that effect help the wildlife, the habitat, the ecosystem. Trees can take 20 to 50 years to fully grow and be big enough to produce paper out of. And yeah, hemp can be harvested 4 months after it's planted. It will grow 10 to 20 feet tall, and by using hemp, we would reduce topsoil erosion. If you don't think that weed should become legal, this should help you figure that out. So, topsoil erosion, for those of you who know what that is terrible. So by lowering that, by using hemp, we would essentially reduce all the pollution of the water sources, so the lakes, the rivers, the streams, all that. We're reducing pollution by using hemp. Hemp can also be substituted for cotton. fiber is 10 times stronger than cotton. Cotton can only grow in warm climate, and there is a lot of water and a lot of work. Itself can grow in all 50 states and needs little water. So demand for hemp products is actually growing very rapidly. Hemp naturally repels weed growth. I mean, weed, like, what hemp is when you smoke it. Weeds like dandelions and stuff that kills your plants and your crops. It actually repels weed growth. Huge insect enemy. Hemp requires no herbicides and very few pesticides, when cotton, compared to it, requires a lot of pesticides. So 50% of pesticides used in the U.S. are actually on cotton. Can produce as much fiber per acre as cotton. A 25 by 25 mile square of hemp can produce as much fiber in 1 year to make 100 million pairs of jeans. Note, building materials can be made out of hemp to substitute what we're using. It can be made from hemp just like paper or cotton, or and you can make from hemp is actually stronger and can be made a lot cheaper. So again, this would help save trees and wildlife and all that, and it would also reduce building costs because it's cheaper. So for hemp, which again are not going to give you a high or a buzz or anything like that, they are actually very high in protein, so they are good for you. They're, like I said, not intoxicating in any way, shape, or form, but extracting the oil from hemp seeds and the protein from them is actually less expensive than extracting it from soybeans. Take all this into consideration. Really think about it. Think. Products as a whole are non-toxic, biodegradable, and renewable. So when you see those commercials about how many plastic bottles can cover the earth and how many toilet paper rolls are filling landfills and all that, think back to this, because majority of those things can be made from hemp and actually be biodegradable. They can dissolve. They can be okay to put in the earth. So hemp puts little strain on the soil, just to sum all this up, and requires moderate amounts of fertilizer. It's organic, pretty much, so it's less pollution. So hemp actually produces, on another note, more biomass than any plant. So what that means is it can be converted into fuel. Hemp has more potential as a clean, renewable energy than any other crop on earth. Hemp was widely grown. It could support all of the U.S.'s energy needs. Drug aside, okay? Let's just completely take out of the equation the buds and the THC and the high and all of that, and just think about the plant itself. It can make paper. Produce 4 times more paper than what trees can. Cotton, which is 10 times, the cotton made from hemp is 10 times stronger than regular cotton. And without all of those herbicides and few pesticides. It can make building materials, which are cheaper and stronger. It has high protein in the seeds. Non-toxic, biodegradable, renewable. Can make fuel. Can help with pollution. About this, think about where the world is going. The history of this. Rope, lubricating oil, shoe material, and other things were in very short supply during World War II. So the government actually legalized hemp so that farmers could grow it for the war effort, because it grows so quickly and is so much cheaper and easier to make things out of. So they legalized it specifically for World War II because they were running so short on supplies. It wasn't banned because it was actually harmful. It was banned because it was a threat to wood producers and synthetic fibers. All of those people who were making wood and paper and cotton and all that other stuff were being put out of business because hemp was so cheap and easy to use for these things. So these big companies didn't want that. So because these companies were considered more profitable, they started saying a smear campaign saying that marijuana was a major drug and it caused people to be violent. And these claims are what made hemp outlawed in 1937. Actually, our U.S. presidents and founding fathers, George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, grew hemp. And they also used their hemp products and were hemp advocates. So do your research, learn your fucking history, and really think about this. No tree or plant on earth has the commercial, economic, and environmental potential of hemp. Over 30,000 products can be made from hemp. Riddle me that one, Batman. Some of you will argue with me that it is a drug, it is illegal. Are proven facts that say if legalized, crime rates will go down. Again, I will post all of these sites down below so that you can look it up for yourself, because it's true. For legalizing though, 1 year, after making it legal in Washington, D.C., crime rates are down. DailyCaller.com says that possession arrests decreased by 98%. Because people, this is what I believe the reason is, people no longer are carrying around large amounts because they're not intending to stock up or sell or whatever, because small amounts are now legal. You can get them anywhere. They decreased by 98% in 2015. Overall, arrests even related to marijuana are down 85%. The district here legalized 2 ounces of possession for personal consumption. So you're allowed to have 2 ounces of weed on you. That's more than enough for most people on a daily basis. Down most of the distributing. The voters passed in favor of legalization with 70% support. And this is in D.C., mind you. Soon after they passed this, a bill was passed banning additional use outside of the home. So you can't just like be in public smoking a joint, but it's a step. So in Colorado, since the first store has opened in 2014, there has been decreased crime, decreased traffic fatalities, and an increase in tax revenue and economic output from sales. There's been an increase in jobs. DrugPolicy.org says that the State Department of Revenue revealed that the tax revenue from marijuana sales was about $40.9 million between January and October of 2014. This does not include profit from medical and licensing fees. This is just from selling it. Of the money collected, Colorado has its joint budget committee set aside $2.5 million to increase the number of health professionals in public schools. Marijuana possession arrests have dropped by 84% in Colorado since 2010. In data released by the city of Denver, violent crime has gone down by 2.2%. So by making it legal, you have now cut down on violent crime because people aren't doing it behind the system and trying to take matters into their own hands. It is now legal. So violent crime has gone down. That was only within the first 11 months in 2014. Burglaries have also decreased by 9.5%. So, in my eyes, some people may disagree with me, but again, these are facts. I've looked this shit up. There is really no difference between coming home at night on your own time and smoking a joint or drinking a beer. No evidence that links marijuana to traffic accidents, violence, or cancer. It isn't legal, and alcohol remains legal after being proven to contribute to these things. So the MMP, which is the Marijuana Policy Project, actually made a commercial lasting 31 seconds, hitting all the points on why marijuana is statistically less harmful than alcohol. Look that up. But here are some of the main points here. Number 1, no one dies from marijuana. Not one case has been reported. The U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention says that 37,000 annual deaths are associated with alcohol, and not one has been reported to be from marijuana. Marijuana, number 2, marijuana is one of the least toxic drugs. Alcohol is one of the most toxic drugs. Using 10 times of what you would use to get your desired effect, so say you're drunk, and then you use 10 times that amount that gets you drunk, that could lead to you dying. There's never been a case of marijuana overdose. So alcohol poisoning, people die from that. People don't OD on weed. Number 3, the health costs from alcohol are 8 times greater than those of marijuana. British Columbia Mental Health and Addictions Journal says that the annual health-related cost with alcohol is $165 a year per user. Marijuana is $20 per user. 4, saying weed kills brain cells is a myth. A recent study actually says that marijuana works to protect your brain cells. 5, alcohol is related to cancers: esophagus, stomach, colon, lung, pancreas, liver, prostate, just to name a few. Marijuana actually reduces the likelihood of cancer. A study in 2006 conducted by Dr. Donald Tashkin at the University of California found that smoking was not an increase of lung cancer. Number 6, researchers have reported marijuana isn't addictive and shows no signs of withdrawal. People who are addicted to marijuana probably just have an addictive personality and will be addicted to anything that gives them any sort of buzz. Alcohol users are more likely to build a tolerance and overuse and develop a dependence on this. Number 7, that was published in 2011 in the journal Alcoholism, Clinical and Experimental Research, found that 36% of hospitalized assaults and 21% of injuries are attributed to alcohol. While the American Journal of Emergency Medicine reported marijuana is rarely associated with medical visits. This is because cannabis doesn't seem to increase risk-taking behavior. Much English terms of that, alcohol makes you feel invincible and makes you act stupid. Weed makes you want to sit on the couch and do nothing. Is weed a gateway drug? Now, some people will argue with this, and honestly, from what I found, I really think this goes back to if you have an addictive personality, you're gonna get addicted to anything and everything you can possibly get your hands on that gives you that buzz. But as the average person, there is no addictive characters in here. Early exposure, like your teenage years, to cannabinoids may decrease your reactivity of brain dopamine reward centers later in life. So it'll make you dumber. But according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse states that majority of people who use marijuana don't go on to harder drugs. Says that alcohol and nicotine prime the brain for a heightened response. You are that teenager drinking and smoking and using weed? Yes, you might move on to higher drugs by doing any of those 3 things. Dumbens your senses, for lack of a better term here. Just weed. It's alcohol, nicotine. Any of those used at a younger age can make you move on to harder things. It can dumb those senses down. Actually, as a proven fact, prescription drugs are more of a problem that cause overdoses and 44 deaths each day, which calculates out to about 170,000 deaths per year. In 2010, an estimated 52 million Americans over the age of 12 used prescription drugs for non-medical purposes. Attorney General Loretta Lynch actually said, and I quote to a T here, "Individuals start out with a prescription drug problem, and then because they need more and more, they turn to heroin. It isn't so much that marijuana is a step right before using prescription drugs or opioids." Next time you want to say weed leads to bigger and better things, remember, in most cases it doesn't. And this is not an actual quote. I just remember hearing it. I watch the Justice Channel a lot lately. But people start with prescription drugs and then turn to heroin or meth because it's cheaper and easier to get. Addictions start. So just keep this in mind. Guys, I hope that I didn't offend anybody too much for this video. Keep in mind that I am not saying all this stuff so that your 16-year-old can look at this and say, look, Mom, it's proven facts, I can smoke weed, because that is not what I'm saying. I am saying that with moderation and age limit, of course, and all of that being said, that it might be a good idea to look into this drug being legalized, because there are plenty of facts here. And this is just what I found in the last couple days. This is not even like years of research that say marijuana or hemp can be a good choice. Please keep an open mind. Get out of that square environment and that narrow-minded setup that you have. Remember that just because something is legal does not mean it is being forced down your throat. Legal does not mean you have to use it. The drug part of it and the plant part of it completely separate. If you don't like the drug part, that's fine, but keep into consideration this other half over here. There are plenty of pros to this. There are also probably plenty of cons. So this video is just made to educate those people who don't know. Please don't take offense to anything in this video. If you don't want to know, then don't watch. If you liked this video and would like to see more like this, which honestly I will probably do if you do or if you don't, but make ssure to like it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to see what else we can come up with and what else I put out here. Also, make sure to check out my blog, blog43.blogspot.com, and make sure to find me on Twitter and Instagram. So I hope you guys like this. Feel free to comment, and I will see you guys later.